a small figure with a sturdy face exuding a regal demeanor. At first glance, this figure might evoke thoughts of an ordinary person, devoid of grand ambitions, and certainly gentle in nature. But do not let that petite stature deceive you. The vision and ambition of this man are anything but small. Not only was he one of the architects of the People's Republic of China, but Deng Xiaoping himself revitalized a stagnating and shattered nation after Mao Zedong's era to become the true dragon of Asia. How did someone once exiled by Mao rise to become the father of modern China? Join the World Explorer as we delve into this issue. Educational background. Unlike many of his comrades in the Communist Party of China later on, Deng Xiaoping came from a wealthy background rather than poverty. Deng Xiaoping's father, Deng Wenming, was a fairly affluent landlord. He also studied at the University of Law and Political Science in Chengdu. He was a prominent figure locally and a member of a secret organization aiming to overthrow the Manchu dynasty. With his high social status, Deng Xiaoping was exposed to knowledge early on and received a comprehensive education. In the summer of 1919, Deng and 80 other students traveled by ship to France to participate in the work-study movement sponsored by the government. This was an educational and labor program for Chinese nationals. Deng was the youngest in the group, only 15 years old at the time. In France, Deng Xiaoping attended high school in Bayeux and Châtillon. However, instead of focusing on academics, Deng devoted most of his time there to labor. His first job was as an assembly worker at the Le Creusot Iron and Steel Company in La Garenne-Colombe, a suburban area southwest of Paris. It was during his youthful labor away from his homeland that Deng gained insight into the plight of impoverished workers. As fate would have it, it was in La Garenne-Colombe that Deng Xiaoping met his close comrade Zhou Enlai. Zhou is also Mao Zedong's right-hand man in the future. Influenced by Zhou Enlai, Deng Xiaoping began studying Marxist ideology and promoting these ideas. In 1924, he joined the Communist Party of China and became one of the leaders of the Young Communist League branch in Europe. In 1926, Deng went to the Soviet Union and studied at Sun Yat-sen University in Moscow. After 3 years in Russia, Deng Xiaoping returned to his homeland and began working with his communist comrades in the fight against the Kuomintang. For the next 22 years, Deng Xiaoping participated in all the major and minor campaigns of the Communist Party under the leadership of Mao Zedong. By the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949, Deng had become an extremely important figure within the leadership apparatus with many contributions and years of extensive activity. By 1956, he held the position of vice chairman of the Communist Party of China, along with 5 others, including his close comrade Zhou Enlai. Downfall and escape from death. As mentioned earlier, Deng Xiaoping came from a relatively affluent background and received a decent education, even having exposure to Western democracy. Therefore, his perspective on social development was very different from the rigid individuals within the Communist Party of China at that time. Seeing his country's economy continuously stagnate due to Mao Zedong's misguided policies after the founding of the nation made him concerned. However, for a stubborn figure like Mao Zedong, Deng Xiaoping understood that it was difficult to change the supreme leader's vision. Therefore, he expressed his views through literary works and poetry. He received a lot of support from progressive intellectuals and artists within the country. However, within the party, there was only one person who sympathized and shared Deng's vision at that time, his close elder comrade Zhou Enlai. Simply because Zhou Enlai came from an intellectual family and had also studied and worked abroad. However, the two men were not powerful enough to change an entire giant bureaucracy and hierarchy. However, a nightmare befell Deng Xiaoping in 1966 with the onset of the Cultural Revolution. In his later years, Mao Zedong became increasingly paranoid, concerned about the shakeup of his power after the failure of the Great Leap Forward, Mao initiated a purge of intellectuals, scholars, and artists to eliminate those who opposed him. And Deng Xiaoping and his works fell under Mao's scrutiny. Despite Zhou Enlai's efforts to defend him, Deng was still blacklisted by Mao Zedong. In 1966, Deng Xiaoping was publicly criticized harshly in an internal meeting of the Communist Party of China. In this meeting, this progressive-minded man was labeled as someone who had turned his back on the people and embraced vile capitalism. As a result, he was completely removed from his position and exiled to Jiangxi province. Meanwhile, his children were sent to labor in hardship, a testament to their father's powerlessness. Fortunately for Deng Xiaoping, he escaped death unlike many other progressive-minded individuals. This was achieved through his intelligence, and especially his skillful rhetoric in his works. 1976 was a year of turmoil within China. In January, Deng Xiaoping's comrade and mentor Zhou Enlai passed away due to illness. Now with no one to support him, it seemed that Deng's political path had come to an end. However, by September, Mao Zedong also passed away. A major power struggle ensued within the Communist Party of China. Ultimately, victory belonged to the progressive faction when they overturned the Gang of Four, who had plunged the country into chaos during the Cultural Revolution. At this point, Deng Xiaoping was reinstated to all his previous positions. With the reputation and capabilities of someone who had endured and sacrificed during the birth of the People's Republic of China, Deng Xiaoping officially became the leader of the country in 1978. Black cats and white cats. Deng Xiaoping rose to leadership at a time when China was struggling and underdeveloped after years of stagnation and limitations in government economic policies. China lacked modern technologies and had poor infrastructure, limiting economic development and competitiveness. With his background and accumulated experience, Deng Xiaoping knew what needed to be done. He immediately initiated an economic revolution, later remembered as economic reform. Unlike Mao Zedong's vague and incomprehensible slogans about a strong socialist country, Deng Xiaoping encouraged the people to work hard in the economy and believed that to get rich is glorious. In 1978, Deng Xiaoping presented the Reform and Opening Up Plan at the Central Committee meeting of the Communist Party of China, marking the drastic change and rapid development of the country's economy over the next 30 years. Deng was seen as the architect of the reform, constructing a socialist market economy with Chinese characteristics. Deng's policy focused especially on opening up, particularly targeting Western countries. At the end of 1978, Boeing announced the sale of many 747 aircraft to Chinese airlines. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola attracted attention by intending to open a manufacturing plant in Shanghai. These were initial signs that the opening up was rapidly gaining momentum. In early 1979, Deng made an official visit to the United States, meeting then-President Jimmy Carter in Washington. During the trip, Deng visited the Johnson Space Center in Houston, as well as the headquarters of Coca-Cola and Boeing in Atlanta and Seattle. With this action, Deng Xiaoping clearly affirmed the government's priority to develop technology and the economy. Deng's reform policy emphasized privatization in most sectors of the economy, promoting entrepreneurship while welcoming all foreign investments. This was a fundamental change in China's economy at that time. There is a saying that encapsulates this person's ideology. It doesn't matter if a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice. Why is this ideology so important? The answer comes from the fact that countries following the path of socialism have been rigid in their state-owned economic systems. Although they aim for people to work according to their abilities and enjoy according to their needs, this theory is extremely impractical. Where is true justice when those who do not work receive the same benefits as hardworking individuals? Understanding this, Deng Xiaoping oriented the economy towards Western capitalism almost completely, but under the control of the central government. Since opening up and economic reform, China has been ranked as one of the fastest-growing countries in the world. with GDP growing at an average rate of around 10% per year from 1978 to 2013. In 2010, it surpassed Japan to become the world's second-largest economy, only behind the United States. This is truly a remarkable transformation. From a country devastated by famine, the China we see today is a true economic powerhouse with the potential to lead the world in the not-so-distant future. Returning to the saying about black cats and white cats, we can see that behind it lies Deng's philosophy for success. He allowed the economy to operate according to the laws of economics within the Chinese national context, regardless of Marxism, Maoism, or capitalism, as long as success was achieved. Deng built a capitalist economy does not mean he abandoned socialism, and vice versa. Looking broadly at Deng Xiaoping, we can see that he was not a person entirely devoted to Marxist ideology, nor leaning towards capitalism, but was actually a nationalist. Deng always put the interests of the Chinese state and nation above all else. In a politically factional environment, he skillfully maneuvered, combined with a bit of luck and support, to escape the dogmas of capitalism, Marxism, and Maoism to achieve success in revitalizing and lifting China from ruin. The people of China today truly owe this man many thanks.